She spoke 5 languages. She had at least 9 fake identities. Every label was cut from her clothes so nobody could trace them. And when they found her body, her face had been deliberately destroyed. This is one of the strangest unsolved deaths in modern history. And after 50 years, no one still knows who she really was. November 29, 1970. A father and his 2 daughters were hiking through a valley near Bergen, Norway. A valley with a name that already sounded like a warning: Isdalen. The Valley of Death. The name existed long before this case. Nobody planned it that way. Tucked between rocks, they found a body. Badly burned. Unrecognizable. Police arrived and found something strange immediately. Near the body, an umbrella, rubber boots, a watch, and empty bottles that once contained sleeping pills. The woman's face and fingertips had been deliberately disfigured beyond what fire alone would typically cause. It looked intentional. An autopsy revealed she had swallowed a large dose of sleeping pills. She also had burns consistent with the fire. But she also had blunt force injuries to her head before the fire started. She had been drugged, possibly beaten, and then burned. Investigators couldn't even confirm which of these actually killed her. Weeks later, police traced her to a locker at a nearby train station. Inside, 2 suitcases. What they found inside made this case infamous. Multiple wigs, disguise-like clothing, and most disturbing, every single clothing tag, every label, every laundry mark had been carefully cut out or removed. Someone had gone through her entire wardrobe, piece by piece, to erase any way of tracing where it came from. There was also a diary written entirely in code. Numbers and letters combined into notes that tracked her movements. To this day, only fragments have ever been decoded. Investigators believe it logged the cities she'd traveled to and possibly people she met. And most striking of all, passports. Multiple passports. Different photos, different names, at least 8 to 9 known aliases. Fingerprints on some of the documents had been deliberately altered. Using hotel registries, police reconstructed her final weeks. Under her different names, she had stayed in hotels across Belgium, France, Germany, Switzerland, and England before arriving in Norway. Hotel staff described her consistently elegant, well-dressed, spoke multiple languages fluently, and always paid in cash. She never let hotel staff clean her room while she was out. She always carried her suitcases with her, even for short trips downstairs. People who interacted with her noted she seemed nervous near the end. Some said she made phone calls from public phone booths instead of her hotel room, as if she didn't want the calls traced. Nobody has ever definitively identified her. But theories have persisted for 50 years. The most widely discussed theory: she was a spy. This was the height of the Cold War. Norway sat at a sensitive intersection between NATO countries and the Soviet border. A woman traveling under multiple false identities, avoiding traceable communication, carrying a coded diary. To many investigators, this fit the profile of intelligence work far more than an ordinary tourist. Some researchers believe she may have been conducting surveillance near a testing site for NATO military exercises that were happening in the region around the same time she died. Other theories suggest she may have been running from something entirely personal: an abusive relationship, a criminal past, a completely different kind of danger that had nothing to do with espionage. What makes this case even stranger, shortly after her death, Norwegian police cremated her body and closed the case relatively quickly, a decision that, decades later, many investigators and journalists have criticized as unusually fast for a case with this many unanswered questions. Some records related to the case have never been fully released to the public, fueling ongoing suspicion that intelligence agencies may have been involved, or that Norwegian officials chose not to pursue an answer that could have proven diplomatically inconvenient. In recent years, investigators reopened aspects of the case using modern forensic techniques. Isotope analysis on her remaining teeth suggested she likely grew up in Central Europe, possibly the France-Germany border region. But even with modern DNA technology, without a confirmed match in any database, her identity remains unknown. Somewhere, there was a family who never learned what happened to her. A woman who spoke 5 languages, carried 9 names, and erased every trace of herself before she died deliberately, methodically, like she'd done it before. She is still known today only as the Isdal Woman. If cases like this fascinate you as much as they do me, subscribe, because next time, I'm covering a mystery even darker than this one.